Hi students, this is Jamie, and I just wanted to make a little recording to give you some announcements for both Pathology and PTA 110. I hope you are all doing well, and I know how hard it is to study in the summer when the weather has been so beautiful. I myself, in that picture there, I rode my bike from Glacier here at Mount Baker to the top to Artist Point the other day, and it was just so breathtakingly beautiful. So I feel sorry that you have to study those textbooks, and I hope you can take them outside and do what you need to do online for a few days so that you can maybe go camping and take those textbooks with you. Be creative this summer with your studying. I just wanted to start with a question that I've gotten from a couple of students, and I just wanted to tell you why. And the question is, Jamie, could you put a discussion board in Pathology and PTA 110 like Heather has, where we can ask you a question? And you bet, I will put those on there, but I will tell you why I don't have them in my courses. There's always a reason with me. And from teaching 10 years, I've kind of learned things along the way. For me, I don't have one of those Ask Jamie discussion boards in Canvas because Canvas does not alert me if you put something on the discussion board. So a student could post me a question and it can sit there for up to 72 hours before I get the question, because the policy for the online program through the PTA program at Wacom is that a student has to be answered on a discussion board or an email within 72 hours. And that's great, but I think that's a long time for a student to wait. I know personally, taking online classes when I was a student, I loved it when I got, at least feedback from a student or feedback from an instructor within a day. And so I try to do that. And I really hate that Canvas doesn't have that ability. Our other learning platform did, and they're trying to fix that bug because there's a few of us that have been kind of making a fuss about that. So for me, I use email. I have the students directly email me through Canvas because I have it set up to go directly to my iPhone. So you email me, I instantly get it on my iPhone, and then I can instantly email you back. Now with Canvas discussion board, I'll have to log into the course, which I do every evening, and then I have to go to that discussion board, I have to open your question, and then I have to I have to answer you through Canvas. So I can't do that through my iPhone. I can't do that through any other means. And so that's just really a kind of an annoying feature that Canvas does not have, is this alert system. So I will put the discussion board, Ask Jamie a question, but I want you to know that it could be up to 72 hours before you get a response. If you want to ask me a question and you want feedback as soon as possible, then email me directly through Canvas and I will email you back. I mean, a great example was last Friday I went to Seattle for the weekend, and my husband's driving and I've got my iPhone and it started dinging, and I got like 4 emails from 4 different students, and I was able to sit in the car, answer those emails, email you back, and I even thought to myself, the joys of online learning where we can both talk to each other, email each other, no matter where we are. So that's why I love to go through the Canvas email. But I will put one of those discussion boards on 110 and Pathology for you, but I just wanted to let you know that the best way and the fastest way to reach me is always Canvas through the email. My second feedback that I wanted to give you was about Pathology Quiz 1. Quiz number 1, the class average was an A. You all did excellent. Everybody scored either a 20, 21, or 22 out of 22 points, which was fantastic. Many of you emailed me thanking me for giving you 2 attempts and a lot of time so that you could really get your head wrapped around how to study with that huge pathology book for the quiz. And so I'm glad that that was helpful to you. This next quiz has 18 multiple choice questions and an 18-minute time limit. Students will ask me, Jamie, why do we have a time limit, and why can't I go back to the question after I've answered it? Well, again, there's always a story, right? Behind every rule, there's a story. Unfortunately, students have taken advantage of the time and being able to go back to the questions, and it's a cheating. We've had students in the past who have not every, maybe 2 students out of my career here of online teaching, where the student would use the time to their advantage. So basically, they would answer all the questions that they knew first, and then open that textbook, use Google, go online, shrink their browser, find the answers, and answer the ones that they didn't know. So that is cheating. Yes, it is cheating. And it is not going to help you to get ready for the licensure exam in any way or form. So we've had that, and then the student would also just shrink the browser, open another browser, open Google, Wikipedia, whatever it was, to find Medline Plus, to try and find the answer. And with the online platforms, both Canvas and Angel, they're set up pretty good for their security. So it shows me where a student goes while they're taking an exam. It shows me if you shrink a browser. It shows me if you log on to another computer. It gives me not alerts, but it gives me messages to show that. It gives the student, it'll let them turn in the quiz, but it'll give them an error message. And this particular student that we had the problem with just kept doing this for a while. And so the student kept getting the error message. And one night the student emailed me and was just furious. The student was like, I've had it. I'm so tired of getting this error message, and this time it gave me the error message and it wouldn't even let me submit my quiz. Well, that's because I turned him off. And so I said, well, let's see. What does this error message mean? Is there by any chance you are shrinking your browser, going to Google, going to Medline Plus while you're taking the exam? And actually, I had him call me, and so we were talking about this. And then there was this long pause on the phone. And then he goes, yes, I am. And I said, well, that is cheating. So yes, that is why you are getting an error message, because you are cheating. And then we had another student who, like I said, would wait and then look up the answers. So I know, I hate it. For every rule, there's a story, and unfortunately, one student ruined it for everybody. But now we have a time limit. So basically, you have about 1 minute to answer the question, so you can't just go look up every question. And I have you answer the question before you can go on to the next one. That way, a student couldn't save all the questions that they didn't know till the end and then look them up. I know. I wish I didn't have to do that, but I do. Not that I think of any of you would cheat. I really don't think that. It's just that, you have to have rules to make it fair. So that's why. But of course, with every quiz, after you've taken the quiz, you can have a full review of the quiz. You'll be able to see your answer, the right answer, compare. But that's the story behind the quiz policy. The other thing I want to talk about is in PTA 110, a few students have emailed me and said, here's the answer that I'm going to turn in for this case study. Can you tell me if I'm on the right track? Is this enough detail? Do you think I need to add more? And I think that's fantastic that you're emailing me that to ask that amount of detail. I love to give feedback. And I wanted to give you an example of what kind of an answer would be considered full credit. I thought maybe that would help. So in another week, you're going to be working on a module, and this is the question from the case study. We're going to see Thelma all the way through this book. Poor Thelma. I mean, Thelma has some serious health problems, and she gets better, and then she gets worse, and then she gets in the ICU. It's kind of funny, actually, how many things this poor lady goes through. And every single chapter, you'll see her in the case study. So we get to see her progress. But I'm here to tell you that she does make a successful, happy recovery and discharges home at the end of our textbook. But here's the example. Thelma has been very ill with incidences of pneumonia infection, and she's got this pressure ulcer on her heel, and some general inactivity. You are concerned that because of her inactivity, there may be further skin compromise. You want to perform a thorough visual inspection, but maintain her dignity and at least some sense of privacy. And then the questions go on to ask you, what positions and draping techniques would you employ to accomplish your objectives? Are there any other considerations to keep in mind to accomplish your objectives? So when you're answering these questions, you need to give me enough information that I can make a judgment on whether you have read through the material, you've understood the material, and now you're integrating it into an actual patient case study. So you don't need to put like, I'm now lifting her left foot. I am looking under her left foot. I do not see, not that kind of detail, just summarizing what you do. And let me read for you. This is a student who has turned in this assignment. This is actually someone who turned it in my face-to-face class. But let me give you the amount of detail that this student put, and this student got full credit. The first thing I would do is really communicate with this patient. I would state who I am, that I'm a student PTA, and what are my objectives for working with this patient today. I would then explain to her that I need to inspect her skin and the integrity of this skin to make sure that there isn't any further skin breakdown and there isn't anything more we could do for her in terms of positioning, moving, or stabilizing her leg. I would start by, let me see, I lost my I would start with the position that she's in already, which is probably supine in the hospital bed. Using the sheets from the bed, I would drape her. I would expose only one leg at a time so that I could visually see the leg. And then I would replace the sheet and I would repeat it on the other leg. Again, each time I would ask her if it's all right if I lift the covers, if she's feeling comfortable with this. I would not expose any other part of her body other than the extremity that I am inspecting. For the upper body, I would use the sheet as well as the gown to drape the first, exposing one arm and then the other, then checking the abdomen using the sheet to drape and the lower body and the gown to do the upper torso. I would then, if I needed to, have her roll to the side, again keeping her draped so that the only part that's being exposed is the leg that I'm looking at or the lower back. I would keep her buttocks as covered as possible through the entire time so that she does not feel vulnerable or a loss of dignity. And then the second question is, it was asking you any other considerations that you'd keep in mind. And this student says, Thelma has been through a lot. She might be feeling like she's a number or just a patient in a room. I would make her feel comfortable with who I am and why I'm there and that I'm here to help her. She might require some physical assistance to change positions or move an extremity from underneath the cover of the sheet. I would offer her assistance for that. Other things to consider prior to doing this examination would be where's Thelma's comfort level with exposure, if she's currently warm or cold, and used a blanket as well if needed. I would also ask her if there are any areas of her body that are bothering her or that are painful or that she would like me to take a look at that might be troubling her. Also, I would be assessing how much assistance she would need with her rolling, as that would be something that I could also document in my documentation of the treatment. So there's an example of a student who got full credit. They kind of painted a picture really for me of what they were going to do with the patient, start to finish, how they were going to communicate. The only thing I remember telling the student, it would have been nice if she would have put in there that she was going to start with the feet and move up, or the head and move down. When you're inspecting a patient or you're working with a patient like that, you don't want to jump around. So you don't want to look at the heel over here and then you look at the back over here and then you want to do it systematically. And it doesn't matter if you work from the head down or the foot up, just doing it in a systematic approach. And that was the only thing that I could offer the student to her answer to make it a little bit better. So I hope that helps to kind of give you an idea of the detail I'm looking for. Again, you don't have to tell me I'm lifting her leg, I'm looking at the heel. I'm not really looking at that. I want more, paint me a picture of how you're going to treat this patient. The last thing, PTA 110, tips for success. I want to let you know, and I wrote this in the email, that the students who score the best on the exams in PTA 110 are the ones that work through those modules on a weekly basis. The students who wait, because all those modules are due, I'm sorry, someone's texting me right now as I'm doing my recording. All those modules are due basically on the Friday before that lab weekend. And the students who wait till the night of the due date and stay up and work on those and turn them in at like 10:59, those students don't do as well as the ones who pace themselves and turn those assignments in weekly. Because when you turn it in at 10:59, there isn't a lot of time for me to give you feedback, if any feedback at all, before the lab weekend, which is the next morning. So I really encourage you to pace yourself and to do those weekly modules. I mean, it's not like you have to do the assignment every week on a certain day, but at least try to stay on a schedule and don't wait till the night before to try and sit down and do all 3 modules. You'll do better that way. The other question somebody asked me just today was, are there any exams in PTA 110? And yes, there are. I'm going to go back and make sure it says that in the syllabus. I'm pretty sure it does, but maybe it doesn't. Yes, every lab weekend you have a written exam, and in another week or so I'll open the module that kind of helps you get ready for that first lab weekend. I've got a practice test in there. I've got some video recordings of me talking to you about what the lab weekend will be about, that kind of thing. So that is about it. And thank you for listening to me. Hopefully I didn't bore you and you're not falling asleep right now. And I hope you guys have